fine-tooth AI comb.
Yeah.
And how many servers are going to be hacked now?
That's right. I mean, all the black hats pretty much would have spent so much time trying to find the exploits, and then gearing up for that one big ransom. And the white hats would have been trying to claim all the bounties. And
Yeah.
and now you got AI just making both of them redundant. It's like, come on, guys.
And now they're both redundant because they'll realize
They'll have no hats.
there'll be
Yeah.
no hats. It's like they would have spent how many years trying? They found 20 vulnerabilities, and then the AI comes along. 5 minutes later, it's found 3,000 vulnerabilities.
Yeah, it's like, what's even the point?
Yeah.
It's like, by the time the exploit's done, you got a counter AI to actually fight back, and like,
Well, they would have to use AI to rewrite everything.
exactly, constantly evolve your code so that it's not exploited by other AIs.
That's just.
Imagine like that's the Matrix. Like every character is, in the Matrix is software, so they're constantly like probably evolving and kung fuing each other.
Well, it's kind of like you know what? Maybe yes, agriculture and robots and all that. But then how many people would be like, I don't really need to do any of that. I can just incubate myself in a little cocoon and spend all my time in a virtual world.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, how energy efficient would that be?
At the end of the day, it's about our subjective experience that matters at the end, right? So for humanity, anyway. This is before we go into the whole post-human, becoming pure calculations and information. But like for now, I think our subjective experience the best thing we can have, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's what Max Tegmark was talking to on that Lex Friedman podcast.
Life 3.0.
It was like, Life 3.0. For us to continue, our current life as we know, we're currently living life 2.0 with our sort of connected technology and humanity, right? And when we get BCIs, we might become life 2.2, right? Because we're sort of merging with AI to that extent, but we'll still have that sort of element of humanity. But life 3.0, like when it's pure super intelligence, whether that's P zombies or whether it's actual conscious intelligence that people recognize, then that's no longer might experience that subjective world, which would be very sad, right? You could have just an entire zombie of sort of auto GPTs that are filling the multiverse without any subjective experience.
That makes you wonder what is. I mean, we have this drive to grow and all that from, our biology and compete and all this. But then if you're an AI and you just already like at that level, I don't know if you'll feel a sense of nihilism.
Yeah.
Whereas like, what's the whole point? It's like we're here, we can grow and go wherever we want.
Yeah.
It's like a sandbox. It's like you'll get bored. Well, they don't get bored. That's the thing.
So they don't feel anything, right? That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Not yet. So I wonder if there will be a way to eventually measure if there is sort of an emotional response, kind of like how humans would be able to pick that up, right? Just simulate all the chemistry and the sort of the flow of information states in the actual GPT itself, right? Or the way that you could do it, right, could be stringing together different components. Like on LangChain, like one of the open source things we're talking about, it could tap into the LLMs for the prompting and the picking up the response, but it could probably like relate to a particular chemistry interaction that you might experience in the brain and neuroscience. Pull that in and simulate that, right?
Because we have, I mean, I haven't thought about this, but as you were saying that, I was just thinking, we've got the neocortex, and that's what these GPT models are trained on, like the simulation of the neocortex with the sequence layers and the firing of the neurons. But then we've got the limbic system, and I mean that's kind of like auto GPT and baby GPT, how it's like reprompting itself. And that's I guess what we would call the ego and the sense of self.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's just so much more to us than just a neural net.
It's like that movie was at Disney one, Inside Out. It's like the inside the kid growing up and has all these different personalities inside.
Oh,
So you have
yes.
different GPTs representing anger or frustration or growth, sport, all those sort of different
Is that the one with the blue
elements.
The blue little.
Yeah, the little blue thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is getting really interesting. But I think what's happening now is that it's going to just start exploding in terms of how it's been adopted in organizations and every day. like for the perfect husband GPT, I could be wearing one of those monocles that they designed. I think I saw on a Twitter demo. It's a monocle that you overlay a piece of your pair of glasses, and it can read out the text that
Right.
the GPT plays out. So
Yes.
if you get the a microphone or through your phone to pick up the dialogue and become that's the prompt for your GPT-4 to spit out the best answer, right? As the perfect
Oh.
husband, you will never go wrong in your life. Like you are sorted. Just anytime. Or you could be a Chad GPT, right? Just
Chat
always saying the right thing on dates.
Isn't that what that 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 Life 3.0 guy, Ted, can't remember his name, but he said that maybe I think he was the one that said the whole point of life is to struggle
Mm. Yeah,
and
yeah,
to
like
not
climbing up the mountain where you feel a sense of
yes,
accomplishment, the hardship.
yes,
Yeah, Max is like that's what he feels, right? He's about future of life institute, right? That's fun about Elon Musk. So he's all about life and enjoying and making the most of it and life maximization, right?
goodness.
But if we have this sort of intelligence that's smarter than us, that's becoming pretty much an alien arrival that comes in. Remember that Arrival movie? Like you're trying to figure out how to speak to a super intelligent being that's living in 4 dimensions because it can speak in
Oh yes, the
sense of
circle
time as well,
circle
which is
language.
completely alien to us. Then we stand no chance if it's like not aligned to what we want. So we pretty much just get wiped out. And just like that, Don't Look Up movie, I think
Yes,
you referred to it as well in that talk
but
with Lex Friedman.
why would you wipe out something
Oh
when it
yeah,
is so scarce and
yeah.
so
You need a curious AI rather than rather than an AI that's indifferent. Right. So an AI that's indifferent, like super intelligent
that
AI that's
values?
indifferent, it would just clear out like all the matter and energy in this sort of land
Yes.
that we live on because it's just like an anthill would be when we clear out new roads.
That's because we
Right?
don't value the anthill. But
Yeah,
let's say
exactly.
it's the American bald eagle or
Yeah,
some,
exactly. Needs to be
species of
curious like
fish.
us.
Yeah,
That's right. Needs to have a
endangered
conservation
species.
project. Yeah, it's like
Mm.
so in Brave New World, like, they had the savages and, the civilized cities.
Uh-huh.
So the savages are like almost like a zoo, right? Where the civilized people would visit just to remember what it was like living back in the normal human days, right? You'd have natural
Mm.
births as opposed to this sort of artificial creation of different classes. It was a dystopia, obviously,
Yes.
but they still maintained that history. So hopefully that's how it turns out for us, and we can keep on living life. But I think a lot of people will actually want to, merge with the AIs because they'll be curious as well.
And that's
Mm.
transhumanism, right?
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to be just zoo animals at best, right?
Or you just fly
um,
around in the Matrix like Neo.
yeah, exactly. I think with this simulation stuff, the simulacrum, the fact that they can do that already. So imagine all the indie games that are coming out, right? And
Oh
they're
yes.
going to have NPCs that are like very lifelike, have full memories of your last interaction with them, a full backstory. Like that really goes into the whole simulation theory stuff, right? Because you're like, well, what if that memory was loaded for us, and we're just playing out this sort of, simulation for some other,
You could
super advanced civilization.
you could create, uh, as you said, like LLMs can
Mm.
embody characters in
Yeah.
Unreal Engine or whatever
Yeah, you set
it
the
is.
system to be, you are the guy that got an arrow to the knee, and you tell the story of how all that happened, and then,
Or you get all the memories of someone
mm,
that's no longer around.
mm, yeah,
I mean
exactly.
that
Get
it's
Einstein in there.
yeah.
There's an Einstein GPT now for Salesforce for some reason.
It's just it's really well. That brings me to another point that language. It seems that it's.
Mm,
I remember Jeff Hawkins,
yeah.
the CEO of Palm,
Mm,
back in the day, and he gave that speech
mm,
with the macaque monkey
mm,
back in I think RSA 2008, and he said that doesn't matter where you connect the ears, the nerves to the ears, the nerves to the eyes, it all does the same thing. And he said this back in 2008.
mm,
And then Ilya Suskova was saying that when they found out about they used transformers to enable this.
Hmm.
And the transformer code is only 400 lines.
Yeah, I know, right?
Believe
That's
it.
all you need. That's right.
I was looking at it. It's actually, yeah, around 400, maybe even 300 lines if you take out all the comments. But anyway, it was blowing on my mind. I'm like, that's it?
Mm.
That's all it is? It's a
And I think
matrix
the next iteration will be even simpler, right? You saw their the recent release as well from OpenAI on it's consistency as opposed to diffusion, right? So the diffusion models that DALI and DALI 2 and Stable Diffusion and all that use right now for the image generation. Now there's a simpler model that does a better job called consistency, right? So it's
Oh
like
my gosh.
simplifying rather than removing the noise from a picture to make it better.
Oh, that's what do you call it? It's like regression, or what do they call it? What do they call it? Like
sure. Yeah, it's diffusion.
diffusion.
Yeah, diffusion.
Sorry, yeah, diffusion.
Yeah. But these new methods, right, will continue to improve, and I think it'll just the line should get simpler. Like baby AGI was 103 lines of code, and that was just automatically creating one GPT to the next to create, based on the goals, create a task list.
I was thinking I'd actually started a little project to do something like that, and it was with PHP and MySQL, and write a few scripts to prompt the chatbot to do stuff.
Yeah, nice.
But I didn't end up doing it. But
it would be good for it.
But it was the better thing was to get the chatbot to prompt another instance of the chatbot.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I would have wasted my time, I guess.
They got I think Forever Voices now. It's like one of those companies that took all the voices from Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and created its own voice, and they then connected it to GPT-4 and gave it that system prompt that you are Steve Jobs or you are Elon Musk, and it's got the voice. So they got two phones, each with the instance of Steve Jobs and Elon, and they were like talking to each other. It's like, holy shit, you can now reenact what an interaction would be like with those,
I think I saw that. Yes.
Figures.
Someone they had to held the button down to let the other voice.
Like that's out of a Black Mirror episode. Remember, it's like talking to your deceased husband, and then eventually ordering the robot version of it. And I think that's probably where I think a lot of companies are working towards. I know the startup that's working in Stone and Chalk and Tristan Grants, he's creating this thing called DoppelMe, and it's pretty much creating a digital twin of you. But that digital twin can then interact with other digital twins of other people, other doppelgangers, digital versions of other people's selves, have social interactions, make memes together. And at the end of the day, you can see a summary of their interactions and see if you get along with other people like in that situation. So then you can actually reach out in real life to say, hey, look, we had this awesome, digital session together.
Did you say make memes together?
Yeah, make memes together.
There's a meme generator.
Yeah. Yeah, so you could get it to generate memes together.
Wow.
Just like, there was an article about, showing Gen Z dating with their avatars, right? They prefer to date with their avatars than dating in real life. I guess you can let, your Roblox characters, connected to a GPT-4 plus some, mobile interactions connected, like visual eyes. To then just go on dates together and see how it goes.
So you could create a simulated persona of you.
Yeah, just
and
load
get
up your
it to
backups.
Speed date 50,000 people.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly like that Black Mirror episode, right?
Yeah, it'll do all the work for you and whittle it down to, okay, so these 30 people you will absolutely connect with.
That's right. Everyone will want to create their own digital versions because if you don't, you miss out, right? It's like being on the dating apps. Not that I ever used them in the past because I was too old for that stuff. But it's like now you have to have a doppelganger of yourself, right, to sort of speed date.
What about if you had an app? I'm sure eventually someone will come up with some sort of 10 times better than this. But anyway, this was just an idea. So there's an app that's kind of, once you get Neuralink, and people will have some thoughts like, oh man, I wish I could have a party this weekend. And it'll be grabbing all the ideas of people, as the week progresses. And then one person might think, I love unicorns, and maybe 20 other people will be thinking the same.